Good evening, Beyond the Call of Duty family and our end of watch Ride to Remember family. Thanks for joining us for our Friday Night Live again. I am filling in for JC, who is with Damien and one of our memorials, and they're doing an event here in Eastern Washington this weekend. It's called the Desert 100, and it's in Odessa, Washington, which is northeast, I guess, Washington. They are having a great weekend. There's selling raffle tickets left and right, and really getting a lot of people to come and check out the memorial and see all the men and women that are pictured on the memorial out there this weekend. So we're going to jump right in. Unfortunately, we've got a few officers to talk about from this last week that were lost. We'll start out with the Baton Rouge Police Department out of Louisiana. They lost Sergeant David Poirier and Corporal Scotty Cassenzaro. And their end of watch was last Sunday, March 26th. Both Sergeant David Poirier and Corporal Scotty Cassenzaro, were killed in a helicopter crash in a field off North Winterville Road in Irwinville at about 2:30 in the morning. The crew of the Robinson R-44 helicopter was sent to assist in the pursuit of a fleeing vehicle around 2 a.m. And while in flight, the helicopter's tail rotor struck a tree before crashing into a field. Sergeant Poirier had served with the Baton Rouge Police Department for 17 years, and he was assigned to the Air Support Unit. And Corporal Cassenzaro had served with the Baton Rouge Police Department for 16 years and was also assigned to the Air Support Unit. And so lots of love and support going out to the Baton Rouge Police Department. We have unfortunately visited them a couple times here and have been in East Baton Rouge and Baton Rouge every year since we started this. So lots of love out there to all our families in the Baton Rouge area. Thinking about you guys right now. Also, we'll kind of moving into Huntsville Police Department out of Alabama, who they lost police officer Garrett Crumby on March 28th. So that was last Tuesday. And he was shot and killed while responding to a shots fired call at about 4:45. And a female had called 911 and reported that she'd been shot. And when Officer Crumby and another officer responded, they were ambushed by the subject. Both officers were transported to the Huntsville Hospital, where Officer Crumby had succumbed to his wounds, and the other officer remained in critical condition. So the subject was thankfully taken into custody and charged with capital murder of a law enforcement officer. And Officer Crumby had served with the Huntsville Police Department for 3 years and had previously served with the Tuscaloosa Police Department for 8 years. He is survived by his wife, his mother, his father, and his 3 sisters. So again, lots of love and thoughts going out to Huntsville and to the Crumby family and their department. We visited, we go through Huntsville every year. And so we hate to see any loss, and we especially hate to see any loss that we cross paths with even more one way or another. Also want to do today, the Springfield Township Police Department in Ohio, they lost an officer, and they lost Officer Tim Unwin, and he was killed in a vehicle crash in North College Hill, and he was responding to an officer needs assistance call when his patrol car collided with another vehicle shortly after midnight, so just this morning. Officers from multiple jurisdictions were responding to the call when the crash occurred. The driver of the other vehicle was also killed in the crash. Officer Unwin had served with the Springfield Township Police Department for 2 years and had previously served with the Hamilton Police Department for 2 years. Another couple places that we visited. And so these losses hit pretty close when you see these departments that year after year are suffering through loss and kind of barely getting over one and starting over again. So lots of love out to Springfield Township, Baton Rouge Police Department, and the Huntsville Police Department for your losses. I know there's lots of love out there and families that are holding you close tonight. So we have a special guest today, and I'll give you a little bit of information. So we have Shelley this evening, and she is the widow of Master Patrolman William Kelley, or Danny. His end of watch was January 30th of 2022. And he died from complications of a result of contracting COVID in the line of duty. He had served with the McAllister Police Department in Oklahoma for 13 years and had previously served with the Pittsburgh County Sheriff's Office for 10 years. And he is survived by his wife and their son. So I want to, let me bring Shelley on real quick. Hi, Shelley.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us to talk a little bit about Danny and about you guys.
Thank you for inviting me.
We, so kind of what I was saying with, these departments, these agencies who are suffering one loss after another. And that's, kind of how it's been for you guys in your area with losing Danny last January. And then your Captain Parker on the 16th. And then again, Patrolman Barlow here just a week and a half ago on the 20th. So yeah. How are you guys doing with kind of piecing that all together? If not quite back to normal from losing your husband and then now losing two more in such a short period of time.
We're hurting.
Yeah, I would bet. So I was going to show, I know that you had sent some pictures over for Chris. I was kind of trying to, I can tell you show you my favorite picture that you sent us of Danny. Okay. So here's your wonderful husband with a little dinosaur in his hand. So what's going on here?
So the dinosaur is a T-Rex. His brothers lovingly referred to him as T-Rex because he had a big head and short arms. And so they would call him T-Rex. And one of them had a stuffed T-Rex that he carried around in the front seat of his patrol car, and he named it Danny. The local Sinclair station, when they built the Sinclair station, they put a dinosaur statue out front, and the guys named that Sinclair station, nicknamed it Location 82 after my husband. His badge number was 82. So anytime we see anything T-Rex, we think about Danny. And his sister and I have T-Rex paw print tattoos in remembrance of him. And here lately, it was before the deaths of Captain Parker and Officer Barlow, we found some T-Rex footprints at Hobby Lobby and decided that we would go around and T-Rex the patrol cars of the department. Just, something fun for us to do and try to help, raise some rapport and some spirits amongst the guys. And so we wrote on these T-Rex footprints, "You've been 82," and we snuck around town placing T-Rex footprints on patrol cars and the occasional fire truck.
Oh, that's wonderful. I would bet that they all, even if you didn't say you had been 82, they'd know where that came from.
Probably so, yes.
Well, that's my favorite picture that you sent. So, but let's move on. There's also, you said this is one of your favorite pictures of Danny.
Yeah, that's Danny and our son. That was taken probably about 10 years ago. That was our son's Halloween costume. And I had to have a picture of the two of them together in their costumes. Our son looks like his dad, acts like his mom. But he's I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that's not uncommon.
Since Danny's passing, our son is striving to be just like his dad as much as he can be.
Oh, and how old is your son now?
He'll be 15 in June.
Oh boy. Whew. They grow up so fast.
Yes,
they do. And this is here's another picture. Let me grab this one. And that looks like you and him.
That is he and I. That was taken November before he passed away. He and I and his sister and her husband took a weekend trip to Tulsa, and we were just out seeing the sights downtown Tulsa. And as much as Danny hated taking selfies, I said, hey, humor me and take this selfie with me. And I'm so glad he did.
Yeah. It's a great picture.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, here we go.
That's Christmas. I can't remember what year that was, but that's just a family picture. We always tried to get out and, see the lights and see the sights at Christmas time. And that's actually a giant Christmas ornament that they have set up downtown here in McAlester. And we just posed for a family picture.
Oh, wow. That's a great picture, you guys.
Thank you.
Got a couple more. So what's going on in this picture?
So in my bio, I explained that our son has some special needs. He has a speech disorder. And for 5 years, Danny and I coordinated a fundraiser walk that benefited the funds from that walk benefited the Apraxia Foundation, Apraxia Kids. And the clown is in this picture always volunteered to come and, she volunteered her time to entertain the kids at the walk. And so this picture wasn't taken at the walk. It was taken at a parade. We hadn't seen her in a couple of years, COVID and whatnot, kind of threw everything off and we didn't do the walks anymore. But Danny was patrolling before the parade and the clown came walking by and he said, hey, wait, I think I know you. And so she turned around and she said, yes, you don't. And they visited it and they took this selfie and sent to me. And he said, look who I found. And that's Chad Clown. That's our son's, the only clown our son likes. But, that was just Danny's personality to, hug up the clown and take a picture with her.
Oh, boy. Well, that's his badge, it looks like.
Yes. On the flag that they presented me with at his funeral.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And we've got it. I think we've only got one more, but so we kind of mentioned, brought up a little that you guys have suffered some other loss in your area this past week and a half. Uh-huh. And it looks like we've got a picture here of your husband, Danny, and Captain Parker, who passed here a couple weeks ago now on the 16th of this month.
Uh-huh.
And so that's a wonderful picture showing the two of them together. And unfortunately, they're together again.
Yes.
So I know that last week we had shared Patrolman Barlow's passing on the 20th. And so there was, you were saying that you guys had a celebration for Danny's right around his 1 year anniversary, and that both Patrolman Barlow and Captain Parker were there.
Yes, they were.
So that's it's wonderful that hopefully you've received that type of support from the department and from your community and from your family, helping you through this a little bit at least.
Oh, absolutely. Our the family, of course, is amazing. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law are in the other room watching this as we speak. We spend most Friday nights together. And of course, I'm surrounded by, lots of family members. So I have a lot of family support here. The guys at the department, my son and I are still very much a part of that family and a part of that department. We stop by pretty regularly, and we just, we go to the back door and send a text message or call and say, hey, let us in. And we get to go in and hang out with the guys, and, Grant gets to wrestle with some of them. And I think it's good for us. And I think they enjoy seeing us too. And then through, the losses of these last two officers, I was at the department a lot because, those guys are my family and I cared about them and I was worried about them and I wanted to check on them, make sure they were okay and see if there's anything that I could do. And then our community, we've had lots of compliments on our community. The community they rallied around Grant and I, when Danny was sick and then after his passing, and just the love and the support from not only friends and family and church members in the department, but strangers and people that Danny had arrested, that were reaching out, sending me messages and letting me know that they were praying for me. And I know we have a pretty amazing community. They've really pulled together for these last two officers and raised a lot of money for the officers and done a lot of great things. So I know that not everybody is as fortunate as we are, but we've got a great thing going here in McAllister.
That's wonderful to hear because unfortunately, you're right. We don't always hear that story. Sometimes their families are not rallied around and the support's not there. So that's amazing for your community and the department to reach out like that. And especially, I've said it every time I've heard it, that when an officer's passed and you have people that he's arrested come forward and with their thoughts and condolences and have a kind word about him, that says a lot about the type of person that he was. Because that's a special person, to arrest someone and for them to turn around and say thank you and send their condolences to his wife is, that's a pretty big statement on the kind of person that he was.
Yeah, I agree.
So, is there any what would you want people to know about Danny that we're not going to see or hear anywhere else? Something that you think that people should know about him or your lives together that people should know that this is
Oh, you froze up just a second. Allison, I don't know if you can hear me, but I cannot hear you. Are you there? I don't know if you can hear me, so I'm just going to go ahead with the question that you asked. Something that was unique about Danny and I was our jobs coincided. And I was a judicial clerk and he was a deputy, so we had a lot of clients in common. And so we used to joke that he would catch them and I would clean them because a lot of his arrests I dealt with in court.
Hi, Shelley. Hi. Allison accidentally got booted off, so while she's getting back on, I will jump on here.
Okay.
And take over, so I didn't mean to interrupt your story. I apologize.
No, that's fine.
So please continue, please.
Oh, I was just talking about how mine and Danny's job decided we were, unlike a lot of other officers and wives, you know, we could relate on a different level, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, is because our jobs intertwined.
Yeah, and I think that's a common challenge with spouses of law enforcement is sometimes there can be a gap, a fissure there, because the spouse that's working in law enforcement sometimes either overshares or doesn't want to share because nobody calls cops for a good day.
Right.
They call them when they have bad things happen, and sometimes they don't want to share that, or sometimes they overshare. And the fact that you work so close, I'm sure there was a bond there because you two could connect on a level of understanding. I mean, he was out on the street, but you saw and read and witnessed victims and suspects and the whole 9 yards. So I'm sure that created a great bond.
It did sometimes, because I would kind of pick apart his stops and say, okay, what was your probable cause? How did you get it? Kind of challenged him a little bit. Not that I have a Juris Doctor, but I sat through enough preliminary hearings that I had the general gist of it. So just to make sure that, he was solid in his stance.
Well, I think the truth and doing what's right doesn't mind being challenged.
Exactly.
I think it's, when people are doing things they're not supposed to be doing or lying, that's when those challenges start to go. But, if it was making him a better officer, I'm sure that he was more than happy to address that stuff. So we are so grateful that you came on, and we send all our love and condolences, like Allison said, to the McAllister Department for these losses that they're suffering, and 2 line of duty deaths in a little over a year apart, not much, but 16 months apart ish. But to lose the captain as well, and from our brief conversation before the live, sounds like that's not going to be a line of duty death, but that doesn't take the sting away. So
exactly, Captain Parker was a major player in our department. He held many hats. He was a great writer, and he was the honor guard captain, but he also played a vital role in bringing our department together in a social aspect. He always encouraged us to have cookouts and get together socially. And he and Danny were 2 of the major players. We have cookouts every summer, and they were 2 of the major players. And, usually the first one's there to get everything ready. And we're kind of trying to figure out how we're going to carry on without 2 of the most important parts.
Yeah, the road forward is never easy, but just know that the people on, there's other survivors online when we read comments, and you can reach out to them. You watched, again, as Alice talked about last week, you can reach out to other survivors, and always me, how to get a hold of me. You can contact us through our email. We're always there for you and any of the other, family members or the department members, if they need an ear or if they need anything else. We understand. So Allison, I know she told you that she's been on every mile of every ride, and I don't think people appreciate the weight that has, because not only did they drive all the way around the country from Spokane all the way down into Texas, across the bottom, up through the east, back across the north, 79 days, but she's done it 3 years in a row. And every one of those days, she met with somebody like you, somebody that suffered a major loss, and sometimes 3 times a day. So it takes a huge emotional, spiritual toll. And we're very grateful and lucky to have people like Allison and our other survivors that we have across the country that I'm sure are watching now. So actually, let's take a look at some of these comments, and I'll leave you on because they may have questions possibly. So let's see.
Okay.
Chris Ellsworth, good evening. Thank you for joining us, Chris. I appreciate it. Heather says, good evening. Good evening to you, Heather. Sherry, Allison thanks you. I'm sure she's trying to get back on. I don't know what happened exactly. She got booted off, and then she called me real quick and said, help. So Diane, hi, Diane. Thank you for joining us. Diane is a regular on here and also a survivor. Hey, Eddie, love you, miss you, buddy. Eddie is also a survivor as well, and he is on every week. And Eddie also does a lot of work with us. If we have events, a lot of times Eddie will go. He's been on the ride with us. We always try to take our survivor with us if we can, because obviously they can relate to other survivors better than people that haven't suffered that loss. Jerry, hey, thanks for joining us again, Jerry. Good evening, Allison and the rest of the EOW family. Sherry, saying hello to Eddie, and of course, because Eddie's very popular. He's the cool kid on EOW. So as you can see, everybody wants to say hi to Eddie. Sherry, hello from Eddie. Hello, Diane. Billy Reynolds, hello, DOW family. The Delta Honor Guard was busy this week in taking care of 8 fallen heroes. So
Wow.
Billy, as we've said it before, I'm sure you saw last week, Billy works for Delta Airlines. He's part of the Honor Guard, and he kind of heads up anything that has to do with fallen military or police law enforcement that come through Atlanta that deals with Delta Airlines. Billy has been a huge proponent of End of Watch. We went, and he was able to get a hangar for us to go into and park our rolling memorial and let people come see it. And there was military presence. It was great. And Billy he never stops. He never stops. Emery, good evening, Blue family. Emery says that your husband is a hero to more than he knows.
Oh, thank you.
Eddie said he's sending you hugs and lots of love, as we all are.
Thank you.
As does Paula Cortez. Melissa, in this picture, you can see Melissa, her husband Lance is part of End of Watch, and he is actually deployed. Right now, I can't say where because I don't know, and I don't know that I'm supposed to know, but Lance plays a key part in our End of Watch or Beyond the Call, but he's doing an 18-month deployment, so we wish him all the luck. He made a tribute. Emery made a tribute for you. I'll see if I can get that copy and email it to you so you can see it.
Thank you.
And then, as Eddie's saying, reach out anytime to him. We're family, and we're always happy to help. So, we don't want to pry, but you're not alone. You don't have to do this by yourself. We're here for you, with you. But it sounds like you have a pretty strong community helping you out.
I do, and I've become pretty involved with the COPS organization as well. I went to the spouses retreat last fall, and that was fantastic. Made some really good connections with some other spouses there. Carla is the one that actually tagged me in last week's live. She was watching, and I met her. She lives in Houston, so she's several hours away, but we keep in touch regularly. So not only local connections, but I'm making some across the country as well. Right.
Before I let you have your leave here, how's your son doing with all this? I know Allison talked about it briefly, but he's just getting ready to turn 15, and losing his father when he's 13, 14 years old has got to be I don't even have words for it. Like, that's got to be probably one of the hardest things there is.
It is hard. I know I explained in the email, our son has special needs. He has cognitive delays as well as, coordination disorder or speech disorder. And so getting him to talk about his feelings isn't always easy. The one point that he gets across almost daily is he misses his dad. And he wants his dad to come home. And, you know, we have to talk about the fact that dad can't come home. That's not an option. And that, you know, but dad, that it's okay to be sad, but dad wouldn't want us to stay sad, and that we have to do our best to keep putting one foot forward and to be happy and to always remember dad.
Well, the extension goes to your son as well. You know, if he ever needs somebody to talk to, I mean, obviously he has his great mother to speak with, but, you know, sometimes, you know, I have kids of my own, and sometimes I'm a little too close to whatever's ailing them, and maybe I'm not as objective as I could be. So again, thank you, Shelley, for joining us. I will get with you either later this weekend and I'll email you that link that Eddie, so you can see that tribute. But after the live's over, you can go through the comments and see it and probably copy it as well, but I'll make sure you get it. So
Great. Thank you.
all right. Thank you so much, and have a blessed night.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye. All right. We want to thank all of you for joining us. It's Friday night. JC couldn't be here. He's out doing a remote operation. And as JC would say, if you come across law enforcement, you know, it only takes a minute to extend your hand and give them a handshake, give them a hug if possible. Let them know that you appreciate them. Let them know that, you know, they're not alone, and that we are grateful for what they do for us as a community. If you see law enforcement or emergency services behind you, pull over out of the way. If you come upon them, make sure that, you know, you slow down around them, and don't drink and drive, don't text and drive, and make sure you all stay safe. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.